Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel if you're old, and welcome to my channel if you're new. If you're looking for how to teach yourself a topic, I hope I have the thing you need to really get that into your head, because this year's going to be hard. This year is, coming out of 2020. We've got different teaching styles, we've got different ways of learning now that we may be in school sometimes, out school sometimes. We may be completely out of school, we may be in school, but not getting that same type of teaching because of different regulations and so forth. And so you may be left to teach yourself a topic, which is really annoying, to be honest. It's not a great place to be put in, but I'm here to help. I have tips and tricks, things that I do to help teach myself a topic from bottom to top and get those top marks, even if you haven't done it in class. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, do all the great stuff, because it really helps me out, and especially going into this year has been crazy channel wise, and it would be amazing if you could, support the channel in that way. But let's get into number one, which is gathering your resources. Now, it may seem kind of obvious, or it may not seem kind of obvious. If you're going to teach yourself a topic, you need what you need. Well, it's a bit weird. You need your specification. You need to look through your specification and see what you need to be teaching yourself, what you need to know, exactly what parts of the topic you need to know, because sometimes you may not need to know the whole topic, or they may want you to focus on a certain part of the topic. And so looking at your specification is so useful. I cannot stress enough how useful looking at your spec is to see what you need to know. And then once you know that, you can get a textbook. Your specification may already have a textbook. So I do SEA, and there are SEA textbooks for chemistry, biology, etc. Find revision guides. I know there's really good revision guides for SEA, AQA, EdXL, and they have really good revision guides, which I love. I have them. You can actually see them right there, that black strip there. Those are all my revision guides for chemistry and biology. Get those, because they really condense the textbook into a lot smaller versions of what you need to know. Anything your teacher may have given you, if it's like a help sheet or some kind of worksheet or booklet, use that. Online resources as well. You can look up the topic and see if there are any textbooks online, if there's anything that can help you with this topic. Gathering up everything you need to know to prepare yourself for really getting the stuff into your head. And so you're now starting out to try and teach yourself this topic. You've got everything you need. What do you do next? How do you actually begin to teach yourself a topic? That is really the next question and the next big step. Number two, read and take notes. I like to just read through the textbook, maybe not the whole thing, maybe just one part of the chapter or one subtopic at a time, and take some rough notes. Like, have it write down just kind of key points stick out to you, and maybe draw a diagram or two, and kind of familiarize yourself with what's going on. It's never a good idea to try and learn it immediately, because you'll have no clue what's going on. If you try to just go straight in and try and learn it all, you're not going to remember anything, because you're going to be too bombarded with information from everywhere. And so take it slowly. Read through the textbook. Make some rough notes. Give yourself an idea of what's going on. Familiarize yourself with the topic. Make a list of things you understand and things you don't understand. Vital. If you make a list of things you do understand, you'll know, okay, I've kind of got that in my head already by just reading through. Good. And then if you make a list of things you don't understand, right, I don't get this. I'm going to need to do something about these parts. And so you familiarize yourself. And as I've been saying this year so much, familiarizing yourself with the topic, spending time with the topic, gets it into your head, and it just does. Because the more time you spend with something, the better you get to know it, the more, ins and outs of it you get to know. And it's the same with people, it's the same with study. Literally, it is the same thing. And so whenever I'm reading and taking notes, I like to bullet point, maybe, so I'll get a big sticky note or something. I looked around to see if I actually have one. I don't have a big sticky note on my desk at the minute. They're down there. But I like to get a big sticky note, bullet point facts about it, or draw a diagram, and then from that you can move on to next steps. You can move on to looking at what you need to revise, what you need to make notes on, etc. So What have you done so far? You've gathered all your resources. You've read and taken notes from whatever resources you have. Number 3, YouTube. Now, you may be like, well, YouTube, I procrastinate on YouTube. No. What about the world of education on YouTube? If you don't understand something, watching a video on YouTube about it may make it click. That may be the thing that really just makes you realize, oh, that's what happens, that's what's going on here. I like to watch a couple of different videos to see which one I like best, to see which one I understand the most, because each person who teaches you something will teach it from a slightly different point of view. And so if you watch different videos, you'll kind of gain an understanding of what the overall topic is, what key point different people point out. Maybe someone's doing it specifically for your specification, free science lessons, etc. And that's all AQA as far as I'm aware. But get those points from different perspectives, and it may just help it click in your mind. I've done this for immunity, for example. Immunity was kind of a bit of a blur in my mind, and then I watched some videos on it and it just clicked, and it just kind of sat there and worked in my brain. And even just watching the YouTube videos, you're spending time with the subject, as I said in that last point. But what you could also do is make some notes make some notes from the YouTube videos, just bullet point things that they say that you think, that's a good one. I should remember that. And YouTube can be a really, really helpful resource for just getting more things into your head, finding more information about the topic, maybe researching wider information around the topic, which is kind of, necessary at A level. And so, by this point, hopefully you kind of have a rough idea of how the subject works, the topic works. You have a rough idea of what's going on, what you need to know, what you don't need to know, and this is where your specification becomes really, really important. Making proper notes from everything you've done so far can be really hard, it can be really challenging, and honestly, as much as I like writing notes, it is really hard to write notes from nothing. And so I like to summarize the textbook or use revision guides to find the best points and put them all into sections, put them all into bullet pointed lists that I like to learn. But honestly, this is the hardest step of it all, and you have to find what works for you. Usually I would summarize the textbook, put it into bullet point form. A lot of the textbook is explaining how things work, and if you understand how it works, you don't necessarily need the explanation, so you can take that all out and be left with the key points. If it was the kidney, for example, I'd be saying things like ultrafiltration, and then I would bullet point what happens during ultrafiltration, and then I'd go to selective reabsorption, bullet point maybe a diagram here and there, and really take away all the waffling and leave yourself with just the pure facts. And this is what you're going to revise from when it comes to the closer to the exam or your mock, your tracking test, or whatever it is. And so you want to make sure your notes cover everything but aren't really long. You want to make sure that your notes are good, but they don't have to be amazing. They just need to get the points on the paper for you to be able to look back at and remember later. As my chemistry teacher used to say, revision is just going back over something you once knew really well. So you want to get it all done now, get it into your head now, and so later on you can look back at this, refresh it in your brain, and be good to go. And make proper notes, and make sure that you cover everything in your specification. It's vital to check that. It's vital to ensure that you have done everything in your specification, because you don't want to miss something out. You don't want to miss a big point, and then if that comes up, then no marks in that section because you just missed it, which can be really irritating. And finally, step 5, consolidation. This is really after everything, maybe the next day or the day after. You want to go back over the stuff. You want to check that you know it. This is really the testing stage. Do past paper questions on it. You could find them online. You may also find them in your textbook or in revision guides if they have a section for that. Or model questions and answers are good for you to do the question and then check the answer and see if they match up. Past paper questions are amazing because active recall is one of the most effective forms of revision. But before you can do active recall, you have to know the topic inside out first. I'll do a video about active recall at some point. But do past paper questions. They are so effective at getting stuff into your head. Do a blurt. If you don't know what a blurt is, I feel like I do have a video on it. It's basically where you just go and get a page and write down everything you know about that topic onto a page. That could take maybe half an hour or an hour. And then what you want to do is you want to get all your resources, get your textbook, and go back over it and say, okay, did you get it right? Did you miss anything out? And then those are the things that you maybe forget about, or the things that you need to work more on. Also, if you're doing past paper questions and you see something that you just have absolutely no idea about, that may have been something you missed, and you just want to go back and do that bit again, or actually find that part of the course that you may have just like skimmed over or forgotten about. Do this over the next few days, next couple of weeks, not every day obviously, maybe you need to do it like once a week, or twice a week at the start. And spaced repetition is key. Spaced repetition, I did a video about this a while ago, not too long ago, and spaced repetition is about how you remember something and then you forget it. But if you pick it up again quickly, you'll remember it for longer, and every time you pick it up again, you'll remember it for longer. And so the more you go back over something, the more you remember it in the long term, which is extremely useful if you're revising something now for your exams in May, in June, whenever they may be. And so those were my points, those are my tips and tricks for learning a topic by yourself, teaching yourself a topic. It is such a tough thing to do. It takes so much commitment to actually get there and do it. But I promise you, if you do it, it will be worth it. You will have that knowledge in your head, and when it comes to the exam, you will thank yourself for it, really. But yeah, that is all I have time for today. If you did like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, do all that great stuff. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!